A very good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all. Myself, Vaibhav. In today's session of Market Movers, we will be considering the trading opportunities in the Dow Jones Industrial Average, which is hovering closer to the 34,000 levels. Today, the equities are seeing buying on the lower levels, starting from Asia, where we saw Shanghai Composite and Hang Seng stabilizing on the lower levels and managing to close the day in the green, though the gains were rather muted. However, the major equity indices in Europe have closed with strong gains of more than 1 percentage point. US equities are trading off the day's lows and showing some signs of entering into the consolidation phase ahead of tomorrow's FOMC's monetary policy meeting. In the currency segment, the US dollar is ruling the charts again with gains against most major currencies, including Japanese yen, euro, GBP, and of course, not to forget the commodity currencies like Australian dollar and New Zealand dollar. Tomorrow, the price action is going to be rather subdued in lead up to the FOMC policy announcement. So it will be interesting to watch out for today's closing levels for US dollar currency pairs. On the data side, we had housing data for the US and Canada ahead of the opening of North American trading session. The US building permits issued and the housing starts saw healthy growth, pointing to renewed interest of home buyers after lack of enthusiasm seen in the prior month. The US housing starts grew 3.9% in terms of month on month in the month of August, whereas building permits issued rose 6% for the same month. For Canada, the house price index is pointing to the increase of prices by 0.7% in terms of month on month and 12.2% in terms of year on year for the month of August. Now let's shift our attention to the technical side. We will consider the outlook for the Dow Jones Industrial Average first, and after that, we will also see how the technical formation for USD JPY is shaping up after two volatile trading sessions of this week. Let's consider the Dow Jones Industrial Average technical outlook first. This is the daily time frame chart, and here you can observe that the Dow has stabilized in today's session and it is trading above the yesterday's low. Yesterday we saw sharp losses of more than 2 percentage point, but today the price action so far is indicative of a consolidation kind of scenario where I think the possibility is quite strong that the Dow will be closing the day close to the 34,000, and we are not really likely to see substantial losses in today's session. It might be a flat close for almost flat close for the Dow Jones Industrial Average along with other two key equity indices of S&P 500 and Nasdaq. If we look at the price level, we had seen the Dow bouncing off this very level last time around in the month of July. This time you can see that this swing low is lower compared to the prior swing low. So we do have to take that in account, and that indicates the possibility of a strong reversal from these levels is quite remote now that we have fresh swing low formation or lower low being formed. That is going to change the equation, and this time around the buyers might not be that willing to put their bet on continuation of the upward rally. And I think in lead up to the FOMC monetary policy announcement, which is due tomorrow, we are not really likely to see major moves either. So today's session is likely to remain kind of a scalping trading day, and big trading gains are not really likely to occur. So we will have to adapt to these changing circumstances and try to figure out what are the key levels which can help us in determining the direction for our trades. We have seen these substantial losses, and now after this support coming in from the third support of this month's pivot point series, we are seeing the Dow Jones Industrial Average hovering closer to the second support, which is slightly above 34,000. And as the day has progressed, the Dow has traded mostly lower compared to these second support. So I think moving forward, instead of looking to buy closer to these second support, we will have to mostly rely on the first support, sorry, the third support of these month's pivot point series, and it can be utilized as a critical marker moving forward. So if you want to go for scalping trade and if you want to take your chances of buying on the lower side, then I think the stop loss will need to be kept below this immediate swing low, the low formed in yesterday's session, and that is going to be close to 1 percentage point move from the current levels. And if we have to go for the sell trade, then this immediate swing low, I think today's, sorry, not swing low, the swing high, even today's high should be a good trading marker. Anything above that and we will have to be careful before shorting, but as long as price action is bearish and we have these days high intact, I think we can even take the chances on the sell side. So the thing is, we have to buy as close as possible to these prior swing low around 33,600. That means any buying trade should be taken anywhere in the price band of 34,700 to sorry 33,700 to 33,800. Whereas if you want to go short, the optimum price entry can be anywhere close to 34,300 to 34,200. So we have this range, and as I said, I am expecting the Dow Jones Industrial Average to spend the time in today's session as well as the tomorrow sessions early hours in consolidation phase. And in such environment, we can indeed look for scalping opportunities. If we consider the lower time frame charting, then we have these SMAs, which are all pointing to the bearish scenario prevailing in the Dow Jones Industrial Average. And today's session, we have seen the 50 SMA acting as a near-term resistance for the Dow. And this is where the sellers have jumped back in, pushing the Dow lower again after it had risen close to 34,300. And in today's session, this is going to be an important marker as long as we have the price action below it. I think the trajectory in intraday is likely to remain bearish, and we can continue to look for shorting opportunities. And as I said, for that we have to utilize this high established around 34,400 as a marking point. We will have to keep our stop losses above it. And if we get the Dow on the lower side, if we get more correction and if the Dow declines toward this prior swing low, then I think if it stabilizes on the lower side, we can even take the chances for buying, but for that we will have to keep the stop loss below this prior swing low, which is there around 33,600. So that's my take for the equity index of the Dow. Now we consider the currency space again, and we will see what's happening in the USD JPY and how we can look to profit from it. This is the daily time frame chart, and here we have the USD JPY holding closer to these immediate swing lows. If we consider the price action of last week, we had seen sharp around in the USD JPY closer to 109 level. And this time around also, we saw the USD JPY finding some support. In today's session, it had gone on to rise towards 109.7 after starting the day closer to 109.4. But now those gains have evaporated, and again the USD JPY is back to this swing low, and this time around it looks like that we might finally get a break, but unless and until that happens, we do have to hold our horses and try to optimize our trading entries to look for any eventuality. If we consider these two critical factors, two critical technical parameters, both of these are bearish. We have regression curve which is pointing to the continuous bearishness in the USD JPY, and now the price action is even below this middle band of the regression curve. The central pivot point has been acting as the resistance of sort for the USD JPY, and this is where the turnaround happened for the USD JPY. Now, I think we can even utilize this as a stop loss of sort, but if we consider the current price action, then it is not really close. Maybe if you were to short it early in the day when the USD JPY was closer to 109.6 to 109.7, in that case, you might have utilized this central pivot point. But now that's almost 50 to 60 pips away, so I think it is not a good idea to take that kind of a risk. So instead of that, we will mostly have to look for a lower time frame chart of hourly to try to capitalize on these bearish sentiments prevalent in the USD JPY. So for any trading opportunity, we will have to first allow some sort of retracement in the USD JPY to happen. And when we get the entry anywhere closer to these 50 and 100 SMA, we can look for shorting opportunity while keeping the stop loss above the 200 SMA. So for that, I think we will have to be patient in today's session and wait it out for the USD JPY to consolidate first. And only after that, once the price action catches up with these two SMAs, the 50 SMA is likely to decline sharply on the lower side, and we can expect by the time the European session begins in tomorrow, we will have the 50 SMA catching up with the price action unless and until we see any sharp downward turn in the USD JPY. And as I said earlier also, tomorrow the price action is likely to be muted in lead up to the FOMC monetary policy announcement. So in that case, the opportunities are likely to come our way if we are willing to wait, and then as and when we find the optimum trade entries, we can take our chances. So that's my take looking at the current price formation of the USD JPY. If any of you have any query or any idea to share, you can write to me in the feedback section and I would be more than happy to take the discussion forward. Before I sign off, I would also like to remind of the risk associated with trading in the financial instrument, and one should be careful while using the information provided. For further coverage of the market developments, you can check out the Ricoscope Analytics page to starting to trade if you haven't done so far. The JForex platform offers the excellent trading environment with the low cost service. We are also available on the Facebook. You can follow us there. Thank you all for joining in. Have a fabulous day ahead. See you next time. Till then, goodbye.